How's it going, everyone? Welcome. Got me here, George. Got my boy Alex, and we're doing another rendition on some business slash focus on our Airbnb stuff and things we've worked on. How's it going, Alex? I know you had a busy weekend.
Oh, yep. Had a bouncing around. Had to go to set up some new TVs in the last few days for at a couple units. Took a little field trip down to the northern neck of Virginia to take a new property that a client is just bought, just closed on Friday. So took a look around there. So that should be definitely, it needs some work, some renovations first before it can get up and running. But that should be fun to see it all come through.
Yeah, that actually you going into it kind of made me think about what I wanted to discuss for this little piece here, which was, the time and what you've been able to do in the week and kind of where we started off. Trying to keep the theme today centered around, leveraging our time, but how we land an Airbnb or why we found it to be a good investment and, how anyone can really start and build and leverage the work and the money you've earned to create more things that'll work for you. So I think you hit on the nail on the head, because when we started this, I obviously had my full-time job in the Navy. You have full-time job and side jobs trying to make ends meet when you're doing contracting and working and doing your line business. So we really didn't have that much time to, get and work and do some of the things that require a lot of time, like, starting up a brick and mortar or something like that. Like we had to we lucked into Airbnb, and that it is a good fit for kind of our situation, but we need to find things where we can leverage our time and for weird hours to work for us later on. So I think we could.
Yeah, and I think one of the first ways that we started to do that was, which we did 8 months ago or so, 9 months ago almost, was just hiring a virtual assistant, which we talked about before. But that has been huge for freeing up a lot of our time, especially during the week, during the on hours of the VA. So eventually, and we've had a couple, weekends where I'm like, whoa, this is a very busy weekend for, Airbnb messaging and like special situations happening, early check-ins, late check-outs, all sorts of extra things. So, we'll get there for having a VA on the weekends as well. But yeah, we're looking in all the right directions for trying to find other ways to leverage our time and use other resources to free up our time to do bigger picture things, which is what we've been working on recently. So yeah.
Yeah, what I like about this, and kind of when I talk to people about it, and when I go to the meetup, and I talk to the people that are like in the military specifically, and they're wanting to get into something, and they say like, "Hey, why did you go with this?" I think it's because when you are working an extreme job where you have unpredictable hours or just a ton of hours, you may have an hour to 2 hours a day to like get something done. An hour during the weekdays, and then maybe work weekends, but probably everyone has like a day where they can, where they technically have like off where they can do stuff. So you really got to make most of that hour, 2 hours during the day, and you got to absolutely be ready to crush the weekend or whatever your off days are to make sure you put in the work then to make up for the fact that you're kind of out of touch for the rest of the week or the remainder of whatever your work cycle is. So that's kind of where we started off, where it's like we were doing out of necessity. We got to be like, okay, we physically cannot be the ones that are doing all these things. Like some people, like for me personally, I can't even take my phone to work. So it's like, if it was just me and there wasn't anyone else, that'd be it. It's like the people would message and then that was it. Luckily, we have, that can be like a free safety to cover down. But the idea is that, as you progress, all the day-to-day things for whatever your business is, it can run without you physically having to do it. And then you're there to field the emergencies, which is kind of, I feel like, where we have ourselves now. We're at the like, hey, when stuff gets elevated, we can step in. But like the day-to-day running is kind of covered down on. Would you agree?
And I would agree with that. I think, and as you, start talking about that more, kind of reminds me personally, like, what I need to do and we'll focus on a little bit more is recording every situation where, when, Merrifield has our VA, when Merrifield has some sort of specific question about like, hey, the guest is asking this, do you authorize this? We need to have just a logbook of those types of questions and then for the future, put those, back into the training for new VAs, additional VAs in the future. So that way, their training guideline, they already know, hey, when a guest asks about, like authorizing a discount or authorizing like, hey, can I check out late? Yes, you can check out up to this point for this dollar amount or whatever the, specific thing is. We could allow her to do even more by recording these things that she's asking the questions about. So that way, the next time it's asked, she can just do it, right?
The irony is like, and it's just kind of the way that the way that we've modeled our stuff is like we're still delivering a good product to our customers, and in most of these cases are the owners that we're helping co-host. Okay, what is what we tell them? He's like, hey, let us take the decision space. Like, give us what you're comfortable with. So we do this for our or for the people that we help out, which is like, hey, for expenses under $500, authorize us to do it. For this, authorize to do. We set it up so we do that exact what you just mentioned. We do it for the owners, but we don't do it for ourselves, which is funny. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
perfect. Like, exactly. Like, and you can create so easy to create a living document in our company share drive to be like, hey, for this, this, and this, you're gonna have like this is like just if then statements for if they ask for this, you can do this, and like it happens. She asks one time, we put it on the Google document. They have, and maybe we make it specific to each property. Hey, like if people at this property, because you don't know, some owners might be like, no, I don't need to give discounts, even though it doesn't like we could pretty much control the pricing. But
Right.
yeah, the idea is to keep it and making it so that we don't have to be the man in the loop to make sure things are running, which frees us up.
Yeah, because I remember like what I don't want to have happen is any sort of like repeat, scenario where like with our first VA and where it seemed like every day, anytime a guest asked him a question, asked us a question, rather than him trying to figure out the answer, he would just immediately message us like, "Hey, what's the answer to this question?" So it's like, why are we even paying you? I can just reply to the message myself.
Yeah.
So I just don't want that to happen. She's doing a great job, but I've noticed a few different things. It's not like not fault to her, but a few things that we could probably jot down so that way it's like kind of this like a big document to refer to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like it goes to like in the beginning, right? Like we have those hours or weekends, and we cranked really hard on setting up stuff and doing that, and we covered down, and we were the ones fielding all the questions in the beginning. But we built up enough money to hire a virtual assistant. Or actually, we didn't even do virtual assistant first. We made enough money to pay for GCS, which is the guest communication services and guesty. So you pay an extra
Mhm.
fee a month per listing, and then that covers down on them covering on your messages. And it's like
And
it was a
that,
good bandage, but we wanted someone that was part of our team.
yeah,
So
it seems like it was only a year ago that we had GCS, and I totally like it seems like so much longer
mm,
in the past because that was just like you never knew what you were going to get with
yeah, it's a
that
different
because they
person every
were,
shift, and
oh
it's
my
like,
God,
and
yeah,
like
you
Guesty's
never knew.
great. I like Guesty, but that is
Yeah,
like that to me is not. I can't call the person that's messaging. I can't be like, hey, like,
right.
don't do this. It's every day, every hour, it's a different person on the shift, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
we need someone that can be on our team. And then we did the math, and you do the math, and once you have 4 or 5 units and you're paying $60 or whatever for GCS, it's like, all right, well, I can just take that and pay a virtual assistant to work a 40, 50 hour week. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, makes sense. So you work to find solutions to fix the problem you're in. And then, yes, we had our goal of virtual assistant. We want a virtual assistant, and worked. And then we made sacrifices. Like we still barely, we worked to paying you to so you don't have to so your time is freed up for the business, and that took us almost 2 years. So it's like we still are very conservative with whatever profits we have, but we are, I think, I'm almost always more ready to reinvest that into the business, especially when it comes to onboarding staff that's working for us when we can't work. And it's like we could right now, in theory, get another VA and have pretty much every normal hour that it gets to be messaging us covered if we so chose. But we're not at the point where we absolutely need that. We're close, but we're not there yet. And it's like that other money could be used elsewhere for now. I think it's maximizing the return on the time that you have and the money that you make to free up more time to make more money. To leverage more time. It's like that, it's that cycle that we're in right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
also like revolving debt to get rid of that. That'd be great.
That's a separate episode, kind of like what we've been, talking with someone else about, doing sales that didn't quite work out, need to do it ourselves. And so I think, as we talked about before, like what is the next step in the organizational chart of the business? What is the one thing that's like becoming painfully obvious of the next person that we are, about ready to hire? And I think, like we've talked about, a commission-based salesperson to would be good because then bam, that frees up more time for us.
Yeah, because it's like
You-
sales is one of those things, right? Where it's like I think we needed to do it in the beginning, and we did it, and we've done it, and we know like we can do it, but it's like where's our time best leveraged? It's like, well, right now it has to be sales because we want to grow, but it could be elsewhere. Like if we had that guy, it would free us up to do other things. If it would free you up to do
Mhm.
nothing, okay, continue to pick up the phone and call, but that's not what's happening, you know.
Right. There's a lot to it with sales, but as it pertains to time, what else were we talking about recently? What else other sources of things to free up
Yeah,
some of our time?
I got so we made the investment into Monday, which is our workflow kind of, or it's our hub for managing all the tasks and everything within the company. It's like a CRM, but for your whole business. And going to like the hours, the weird hours, and what we've done. Like I still work odd hours. Sometimes I'm working on the weekend. Sometimes I'm gone. Okay. Well, when I'm home and I'm on the West Coast, and everyone's been asleep and I can stay up and I don't want to be working the whole next day and I won't be able to do anything. It's like, okay, I can, what am I going to do from 11 to 2 in the morning on West Coast time? It's like, I can just sit out there and crank on Monday, which I did, and set up, workflows for onboarding new employees, how to deal with leads and sales and all this stuff. And it's a lot of work, and the return on that investment comes from, like, for instance, I'll use new unit workflow. In the past, we have our stuff on the share drive, and it's good, and we've improved every time. But now you literally just go onto Monday, and it's like, click this box. Have you done this? Yes, no. If no, you don't. Nothing will get missed. So that is nice because
Yeah.
like eventually we will not be the ones doing every single thing, and there will be a guy, and we'll have to like trust that he's following in. It's like it's very easy to follow a list when you just like, did you make sure you ordered all the stuff on Manila? Did you make sure that everything's assembled? Is the cleaner rate set up? Is the supply closet set up? And it's like, yeah, yes, this is specific to Airbnb, but Monday you could use for any business, and I have it for personal stuff because it's a very very nice way to track just things that need to be done and things that you want to see the status of and how projects are evolving and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something that I think we've done that will buy us back a significant amount of time in the future, and also cleans things up and kind of professionalizes the business. So that's something
Yeah.
that you can do. Set up the without being bureaucratic and too administrative, because it's like, yes, systems and processes are important, but you don't want to create things and just extra work. Like create the things that need to get done to make the business succeed. Document those and create a process so it can be repeated, iterate, and make it better as you go along.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree. I'd say Monday has been a massive, massive help, and that's a fun one. When you go back to, I know we've talked about this before, but when you think back to like the very first unit or the second unit that was set up coming up on a little less than 2 years ago, remembering those days and how we were shopping for things and how we designed things and the process to purchase things, and then tracking where we were in that. We didn't even call it a new unit workflow because we didn't have a name, but at that time, comparing that to what we're doing now. And what we're doing now, you could take this entire process and yeah, you could apply it to any type of business, specifically with Monday, so and I have no doubt that we will, with another type of business in the future as well. So it's fun to, make improvements into it and learn more. Like Monday is a beast. Monday is similar to Guesty in that it is just this massive, like an onion. You just every day, every week, you keep peeling back like, oh my God, there's more powers, more capabilities.
Yeah, you pay for the whatever level of Monday you get, and you get it, and like there's even more things you can get to link up to it that you don't even like. We don't
Yeah.
even have access to. It's like, and as it grows, it's crazy. It's good for like I'm horrible with social media. It tracks the social media, so now our social media team can look and see what's due and all this stuff. And it's like there's nothing I just hate social media, so it's hard to care about it or even plan for it, and it takes care of it. So I mean, it's that when you said save time, I think of like it buys. You can't create time, but it kind of does in a way because it tracks things and it's doing things when you're not there. It leverages AI as well. So it's like I'm not there, a person isn't working that we're paying for, but this software is working for us, which is like leveraging, and that comes to like, okay, that was leveraging time and money because it costs money to buy back more time. And I think right now the math equation is in the favor of like we benefited from it, and it's also just an organized. It links with the Google Share Drive, so like our whole thing is connected, and it's just a nice one stop. And it makes it easy for employees. Like you log on to Monday, you have access to the share drive because there's supporting documents on there, but like really everything you need is on Monday. So
Right. Yeah, I'd say definitely recently that's probably been the first like tech piece of technology that we could say that we've leveraged, right, to like truly save ourselves a lot of time. We've got a physical aspect of, virtual assistant.
yeah, I would say like obviously like Guesty is like Guesty just from like the locks and all the other stuff, and more organizes. Doesn't save time. It just is like it keeps
Yeah,
everything to the related to the property. But like Monday is like the first thing that's like, all right, this is actually managing work and time. And yeah,
yeah,
I mean that's the first piece of tech that we've had. Obviously, I use ChatGPT for some stuff, which saves
yeah,
time, but it's not the same as like something that's you invest into it and then in the future it's going to be there to do that. So
yeah.
yeah.
So now, okay, so we've got some physical time saver, technological. What is the thing that we are not thinking of that, could be, what's the next time saver? What direction here?
Yeah, I look
Um,
at where we spend our time right now and what we want to spend our time doing, and it's like there's a few things for me. It's like where is our time better leveraged? Like I've been messaging a lot of people, trying to talk to them about their Airbnb experience, to learn about people's issues that they've been having, all that stuff. But in general too, I want to talk about people, learning from people about their businesses and their needs. And when I have them go to the meetups, I'm talking to people and learning about them starting their businesses, just learning that does feed into like a salesy kind of a thing because like I tell them that what I do and it's up to them, like they feel free to do whatever you want, but it more so is just learning about people and their issues and pain points that are in kind of our group to learn more about issues other people are having. And I think that's necessary because we're not quite at the point where we can point to millions of dollars of blah 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 blah, because like once you have that, you know you have the results, you have the reviews, people see it, they say, okay, right now I think we need to spend a little more time in the leveraging, our passion and our experience to get new people to come in for consulting and new deals. I would say the things that we don't need to do are like unskilled things within the business, and I think immediately new unit setup. I think the new unit
yeah,
setup and some of like the catch me f me tasks that have to be done throughout the week.
that would be a really good metric to track is how many hours a week and how many hours a month am I spending to going to set up a TV. So like in this example last week, one client with two apartments, we had to set up a new TV in each apartment. So she's like, oh well, in if we got to this, if we're like, no, no, we'll hire someone who can set up the TV, then they're like, well, what the hell am I paying you for? That's a very easy thing. Like the owner could set up the TV. It's like, okay, you just plug it in, put the Ethernet cord, and blah, 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 you're good to go, whatever. So it's a very physically easy thing to do. It's inconvenient in that I don't live right down the street. So, if I did, that'd be a different story. It's like, okay, I could just zip down there and it's a pretty quick thing. But, round trip, it ends up being like, 3 to 4 hours. And maybe, in the future, when we've got a lot more units, I don't know that it's hard to imagine right this moment, being in a position where we have a full-time handyman and all they're doing is like doing things for us.
Oh,
That'd be great.
I think that's on the horizon. I think that's on the horizon purely because there need to be a day person who's working, like ready to go do maintenance things, ready to do these tweaks, go check on cleaning, all that. They'll need to be that person eventually. If he's a handyman,
Yeah.
great. And it's like, how much does a handyman get paid? Great. And then on top of that, it's like, hey, you're getting paid to be available during the day. That we're not telling you that you can't work. We're telling you you're getting paid a salary to be available to go fix these things whenever they pop up. If you want to get other jobs, you can feel free to do it, but you gotta stay within like a 15-minute distance of all these properties. And if something comes up, you stop the job that you're doing. And that to me is not a bad gig for like a handyman type person. It's like you're on call. We probably give them like do rounds, maintenance rounds or whatever, but like their days are not necessarily 9 to 5 working. It's like go check on units that are available to check on, do preventative, be ready to field emergencies. That I feel like we will need before your eventual disembarkation from the nation's capital. But I think that combined with a cleaner combo would probably be
Yeah,
enough to hold it down.
I think so. Yeah. And I love the orchestra analogy. So eventually, like, I think right now we've got like a three, if you and I were the conductors, Merrifield's like directly in front of us, like training to be the conductor. But, and so eventually, yeah, when I am like, okay, I'm no longer physically in this region, then Merrifield jumps into that place, and then she's working very closely with the
Mm-hmm.
cleaning team, maintenance team, and then we can certainly talk on the phone.
Yeah, because like eventually,
You know,
eventually Merrifield will be like not the one that's even necessarily responding to all the messages, just making
sure,
sure that the
exactly.
other
Yeah,
VAs are doing stuff and that coordination is being done properly.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because it's like
So,
who do you want messaging us when we're in a different area? It's like I would want one point of contact, and I would want that to be Merrifield, and then obviously if there's like an emergency, it gets elevated to us by whoever. So yeah, when you talk about the future, and I think that's the future. It's like getting someone to do the tasks. Hiring workers when you do new units instead of you being there assembling furniture. Like that's a must. Not just with the onboarding fee. It's
oh
like
yeah,
the time it
yeah,
just needs to be there, and then people to do stuff when we're not there. But hey, I think we're making moves. There's progress being made. My thing I'd say in closing would be when you're starting off, you got to figure out where it's simple. Where can you spend your time to get the best return of that time for your business? What is going to make you the most money, the most progress? Devote your time and just dump it into there. And then when you have those big blocks on the weekends and you have some time to do some deep work, think about what you can do time-wise investing to be able to free up more time in the future, or take care of tasks that you can't do during the week. Invest that time, and then once you start making a little bit of money, get a virtual assistant, help you out, and have someone working while you're if you're a cop and you're working, there's no shot you're going to be on you can't look at your phone. Guess what, a virtual assistant can be literally working the same time you're working, and now someone is covering down on you. I think that's, and then you build out all these systems, you do all these things, you grow, and you keep buying back time with different people, different tech. But you start simple, find out where your time can best be spent, like leverage that time appropriately, build it, and that's what we're doing now. Like I think our time is best spent right now getting consulting clients, like helping show people what's going on, and helping get new clients that we help co-host with. I'm gonna dump time into that, and then when I have a little bit more free time, I'll look at some of the ancillary tasks that we do and try and set up systems that cover down on that. So yeah, what do
Yeah.
you got, Al?
Yeah, I agree. With Airbnb, we are trying to get consulting clients. We're trying to get, new co-hosting deals, and we're going through a list of leads. And, you and I are physically doing that, calling, messaging, all these things. And so then I was thinking, okay, for that same thing, that reach out, that outreach, to all these different people, we just need to keep doing that. And then, some other outside the box ideas, which are not that far outside the box, which is like going to meetups, just thinking like what other sort of ways can we interact with people that are really in the same space,
Yeah,
you know?
it's going to. That's right.
Um,
Like that's why, like that's where our time is best spent, is going out, meeting people, talking, networking, doing that
yeah,
stuff. Like all the other stuff that we're doing right now, we are doing it because it has to be done. It's not really moving. It's the stuff that like keeps the blood pumping through the business. But it's
right.
it needs to happen. But it's by no means growing us. So we're at the point right now where I think we have a few people working for us and start going and doing that stuff, and like it immediately pays dividends. Every time I've gone to a meetup and I've talked to
Yes.
people, they're like, oh wow, oh, and I'm like, it's actually what I enjoy doing. I like the thing that I really enjoy doing is helping teach people some of these things, because like or you don't know, and I'm by no means a guru, but I just know I have some good resources, I have some stuff that's worked for us, and I'd much rather help people get even starting, because I know once they start, it's going to happen for them a lot quicker. Like if they sit and they think and they just like ponder on this mental masturbation of watching these like guru videos, it's like, okay, great. Or you could just have a 10-minute conversation with someone and give them like 3 tasks, and they just start doing it, and then you talk to them a week later at the next meetup and they're like, oh yeah, I did what you said, and it's I got this going for my business now. It's like, all right, awesome. That to me is way cooler than anything else.
Right. Yeah. And it's also, yeah, it's personally satisfying to do that. And I feel like, a cold calling leads list, it's like most
Yeah.
people, it's brutal. Most people don't answer the phone. They don't call you back. They don't want to talk to you. Going to a meetup. Exactly. So that whole thing, like
Yeah.
connecting with the people that are already interested in the same shit. And then it's like, for me, just a couple days ago, Friday night or something, this light bulb moment of, oh, wait a second, I'm training for a marathon. Okay, we do Airbnb. That's kind of like what we all day, every day, what we're talking about. Okay, guaranteed there are other people in this area that also like to run and are also somehow interested or involved in Airbnb. Bam, start a meetup.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you just gotta time is precious. It's the most limited resource. You gotta invest that time wisely, or else you'll spin your wheels and you'll be in the same spot. All right, Al.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about sums it up for today. But I'm gonna sign off here, and I'll catch you next week.
Yep, sounds good.
AKA
All right.
talk to you tomorrow at the morning meeting.
Yes, yeah. Don't forget.
Yeah.